Greetings, everybody. This is Chai from the Zoho One marketing team. And today I'm here to give you a quick brief on what Zoho One is and why we call it the operating system for business. So we launched Zoho One in the year 2017. We had 30 plus applications when we released it. And currently we have over 50 plus apps and services that is available in Zoho One. And all of our 50 plus applications are tightly integrated with one another. Not just in-house applications, we have also built extensive integrations for third-party and multi-vendor applications. So even though we've built quite an extensive integration between our apps, there's still some gaps left between them. So that's when we moved from integrating our applications to unifying them. I believe this is a good visual representation of how unification would look like. So first, we unified our infrastructure. That is the data servers that we have, the servers that we use, the hardwares that we use, and the storage we have. We've unified everything. So everything is controlled and managed by us. Next, we unified the platform. We unified the services that are available across all 50 applications. Uh, I will show you the services in a minute. We unified the look and feel of the applications that is available so that the user feels more user friendly towards the UI. And we've also unified the platforms in which our applications are available. So together with the platform and infrastructure, we were able to provide the unified experience through Zoho One. We worked on unification at multiple layers. We will get to have a look at each of the layer moving forward. And as I said, Zoho One is the result of the unification of infrastructure and platforms and services. So first, let's have a look at a unified developer platform. We have 8 to 9 applications in this bunch. So let's start with data prep. So as the name suggests, data prep helps you input, raw data, meaningless data, and helps you convert it into meaningful insights through no code. We have Canvas that helps you customize the look and feel of your applications. We have Zoho Flow that helps you build extensive workflows between Zoho applications and third-party applications. We have Creator that helps you build your own tailor-made application for your business need. We have Sigma that helps you create your own extension in Zoho Marketplace. We have PhoneBridge, which is an alternative for Twilio, and we have Catalyst. Catalyst helps you build and deploy, complex solutions primarily for coders without a server. Beyond the developer platform that we have that helps you, create your own apps and tailor make your own business needs, we have over 1,000 plus third-party integrations that is available with Zoho One right out of the box. You can go to marketplace.zoho.com to find all of these solutions. We'll also share the link in the description. Share the link in the chat so you guys can, do check out. Now let's have a look at the unified services. So there's two kinds of services, artificial intelligence and business intelligence. Now first, let's have a look at the business intelligence. Business intelligence is something that helps you analyze your business and provides key information that helps you during decision making. So for analytics, we have Zoho Analytics that helps you build your customized reports through each of the department and build your own dashboards across departments. I'll also show you how a dashboard would look like. For communication, we have Zoho Click. So once we worked on the unification process of the services, Zoho Click now seamlessly works across all of the Zoho applications. For authentication, we have Zoho One that works as both single sign-on application as well as a multi-factor authentication tool. Our in-house built AI is called Zia. With Zia, you can now ask Zia about a particular lead or a particular deal, or you can ask Zia about sales during a particular time period, and Zia will help you get the right data. So this is the dashboard I was talking about. So as you can see, we have data across departments in this. So from the perspective of a business owner, this helps you get an holistic view of your business about what's happening where, given at a glance. So as I was saying, irrespective of which application, which Zoho application you're using, you can still continue the conversation that you were having previously in Zoho Click, thanks to the unification of the services. And as I said, Zoho One helps you have a single login for all 50 plus applications. And it also works as a multi-factor authentication tool. So do check that out. Now let's have a look at applications. We have apps spanning across 12 departments. We've covered major aspects of the business where technology could, efficient the business process. So, for example, let's take, I have a company and I use Zoho's sales applications and HR applications, and I have a third-party tool for productivity and collaboration. Now, our integrations are too good that it will still function, but it is the difference of being in an Apple ecosystem compared to having your own high-end PC and a high-end Android phone. The application will still lack to communicate with each other. When you use all of the Zoho applications, so for example, in my case, the writer document that I write is available across all of the applications. I can convert it into a template. I can send that for a sign. The seamlessness of the ecosystem will be disrupted if a particular business is using a third-party application. So I hope you guys slowly move into all aspects of a business into Zoho One. Now let's have a look at a unified experience. During the year 2021, we released the unified user interface that came with a unified dashboard with predefined widgets that spans across your business, which helps you have a bird's eye view of your daily operations. Unlike Zoho Analytics, which takes care of all aspects of a business, for the perspective of a business owner, this helps you run your daily operation in a much more efficient manner. We've also brought in unified configuration. That is, the roles and users that you set up in one application will now be reflected across all of the 50 apps, and you can navigate to each one of them through the sidebar. So that's unified configuration. So we call this the ABCD of businesses. As we saw what artificial intelligence and business intelligence are, we also saw about the developer platforms. Let's have a look at the customer experience. So good customer service not necessarily only means good support. It's more than that. So for example, let's take, I have a business. A lead can communicate to me through multiple touch points. For example, social media or email or call or a marketing campaign that I send. The right set of customer experience tool should be able to provide the ability to a business owner to engage in each of these touch points, as well as consolidate all of the customer interaction in one place. So having the right customer experience tools is crucial for a business owner. It's the same with email and productivity tools. Having a solid email and collaboration tools are very necessary in today's hybrid workplace. So as they say, no AI can be the collective intelligence of multiple human beings. So for multiple human beings to function like they are in a workplace, even though technically they are not, the business needs to have a solid email and collaboration tools. Now let's have a look at how we can stay protected from threats in our email and collaboration tools. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you, Chaitanya. Thank you so much for the great presentation on Zoho One. So I suppose all of the audience are now clear about what Zoho One is and what are the capabilities of the same. Now let's just move on to the next segment of the webinar where we understand more about email security. Let me just share my screen. I hope everybody is able to hear me and see the presentation clearly. Now, when we are speaking about email security, I have a specific agenda for the same to cover all the points. First, we have account security, and that is quite crucial for us to keep the data safe. And then we have email threats and what are the types that we will be covering, and the detection techniques that we have at our hand in order for us to identify these malware and all sorts of email threats that's out there, and the mitigation measures. So once after we detect, what measures do we take to mitigate the same will be discussed, and then we will be moving on to some of the email security solution that we have in the form of features. And last of all, we will conclude the session by explaining what Zoho eProtect is. So this eProtect is a specific application which is brought into picture for you to have extra security for the email provider that you've chosen apart from Zoho Mail. So we also have a separate presenter for that, Pavitra, who will be coming up to talk about Zoho eProtect. And while the session is going on, as already Chaitanya instructed you, you can post your questions in the Q&A section that you can find on the bottom. And we have Nishant here, so he will be answering all of your questions that you post in the Q&A segment. With that being said, let's just go on with the first topic, account security. So, talking about account security, we might think it is quite already safe, but to be honest, there could be some loopholes which we will not know much, and this could compromise your account. Once the account itself is compromised, the data that it contains is going to be compromised, and that could be sensitive data, which has a lot of effect on your company and company's sensitivity, and that could actually lead to a lot of bad consequences. So ensuring this account security is very, very crucial. And here, to detect the same, what we have is you have suspicious login, where alerts will be triggered for the admin and the users, letting them know if at all there was any suspicious login attempt was made in their account. How do we find is we have analysis where we monitor what browser is being used to log in, where the login attempt is made, and what IP address that is used to log in. All of these factors will be considered, and with this collated together, this login attempt can be considered as a suspicious login attempt or a legitimate one. Okay, so when there is a suspicious login attempt, then the user and the admin will be notified about the same, and on receiving further instructions or further investigation, the user account can be blocked for the time being, and the consequent action can be taken place before the unblocking of the account happens. And then you have unusual activity. Unusual activity is, let's say, from a particular account, a lot of emails are being sent, like bulk emails are being sent all of a sudden. Okay, or rather, if the user is sending out emails which has malicious content or malicious URLs, in that case as well, this is considered as an unusual activity, and on repetitive log of the same, we will also block that particular user's account. So these are all the account compromisation detection we have at our end. And then you have mitigation measures. In the mitigation measures, we have adaptive IP blocking. So depending on certain criteria, the particular IP will be blocked. So we'll be discussing about the criteria. The first criteria is unsuccessful login. So let's say for plenty of users together, a login attempt is being made from a particular IP, and all of the attempt is an unsuccessful login attempt. Then in that case, that particular IP will be blocked. And then you have too many attempts. So for a particular account, too many attempts are being made to log in, but the login attempt is being unsuccessful all the time. Then again, that particular IP will be blocked. And then you have location-based IP blocking. So when does this happen is you have password brute force attack. So when there is a password brute force attack, a password brute force attack is nothing but where let's just take for example, a hacker is sitting and trying lots of combinations to try to breach into an account. So that's called a password brute force attack. Okay, when that is happening, that particular location IP will be blocked, and consequently what we will do is here you have block successful login as well. Okay, so when a hacker is trying to use this password brute force attack and try to log into an account, and all of the attempt is being unsuccessful, then the login from an entirely new location will also be blocked for the time being. Okay, only when there is this attack going on, then the login from an entirely new IP will also be blocked, thinking that if at all we block this IP alone, then the hacker would try to log in from an entirely new IP only, right? So in that case, the entirety of this process will also be blocked. And then you have To ensure your account security, you have a login alert, which we already discussed, where an alert will be shown for the admins and the users if at all any suspicious logins are made in their account. And then you have blockage of protocols. So this IMAP POP protocols, all of them will also be blocked when there is suspicious logins or password brute force attack that is happening. And then you have re-authentication. This re-authentication is also going to ensure account security. How is, let's say you are an admin, you have the access to change the password of the users, you have the ability to add users, delete users, etc. So this is dealing with the account itself, right? So when you are performing any critical operation such as changing a password of a user, then you will have to re-authenticate yourself there. You have to put in your password again in order for you to perform such critical actions. Okay, so this is again a measure towards ensuring that all the accounts are safe and secure. And in addition to the account security, we also have other measures that can be done at the user level and the admin level. Here you have setting up MFA. Setting up MFA is multi-factor authentication. So in addition to your login credential, you can also set up a password, a fingerprint, a facial recognition, which is going to add to the extra layer of security to log into your account itself. So this even more proves that you are the actual owner of the account. Then comes strong password. Configuring strong password, this advice could look a lot petty, but to be honest, this is a very, very crucial step, because when we ask our users to configure a password according to their preference, they would configure a password which they've already used in different websites or different accounts, or they will configure a password which is very, very easy to remember. Okay, now these two even put into combination, it's going to be very, very bad combinations, because when you configure a password, it's supposed to be a unique one, it's supposed to be a strong one. Okay, so admin can ensure this. How do they do that? Is the admin has access to set up a password policy where they can set up saying so many number of alphabets, so many number of numerics, and so many number of special characters needs to be there in the password. Depending on this policy is how the users will configure the password. Okay, so this password policy is also quite crucial. And then you have forward restrictions, which you can set up for your users in order for them to be restricted from setting up forwarding in their account. And then you have setting IP restrictions. IP restrictions is where you can set up a certain IP range saying only from these IP ranges my user should be able to log in to their account. So if they are outside that IP range, they simply won't be able to log in at all. Okay, and then you have session timeout. Session timeout is where your account will be automatically logged out or after a particular time. Okay, but why is this necessary, or why is this important? Is it's very, very normal as human nature for us to forget to log out from our account. Okay, so let's say you logged into your mail account, you've seen all the mails, handled all the mails, and then you got consumed with another task and you just gone to the next task for the day. Okay, so you have forgotten to log out. Okay, and you just wanted to take a short tea break, you just get up and then you have a tea break and come back. So in that space as well, somebody could easily have access to your laptop and see what are all the mails you've received, and even try to compromise your account as well. So to avoid such chaoses, we have session timeout, where after a specified time the account will be automatically logged out. Okay, and yep, so we discussed about the detection and the mitigation measures. And now we are going to talk about email threats. Okay, so as long as we remember all the account safety measures, now it's time for us to learn about the email threats that's out there, and what are the detection techniques we have at our hand, and what are the mitigation measures we need to learn about. So first, when we talk about email threats, I would like to only highlight these four top email threats that is there. First is malware. Malware is a URL or an attachment when on trigger can infect and corrupt data in your system. It can also compromise the data. It can have attachments or have connections with the outside world. So it just transfer the data to the outside sources, or rather it can also do a lot of malicious, it can also infect it with a lot of malicious content within your data as well. So that's malware. And then you have spoof. Spoofing is where somebody is trying to use your email ID as theirs and they try to send out emails. Okay, they're trying to spoof your account, act as a fake ID. And then you have phishing. Phishing is where the main motive of this process is to loot data. Okay, they want your sensitive data such as your bank credentials, your email account credential. They would just send you a link where they would ask verify your account again, or it would be terminated, something like that. And before we analyze, before we cross verify, we might also get lured into this, and we will type out our passwords in the link. And that again is termed as phishing, where the person has gotten access to your passwords now. Okay. And then you have spam. Spam is unsolicited emails which are absolutely not necessary for you. You would be better off without these emails, and those emails are termed as spam emails. Okay. So these are all the threats that we are going to discuss, and what are the mitigation measures that we need to learn will be discussed here. First, you have malware. In malware, we have the mitigation measures such as secure attachment policy. We have a policy itself where certain attachments are prohibited from entering your inbox. Simple as that. Okay. And how do we even classify is that we have certain formats which we have taken into account from the history of malware which has been spread across in the previous days, in the past. Okay. With those analysis, we have certain formats which is definitely considered as malware, or vulnerable formats which potentially could be malware. Okay, so those formats will be absolutely prohibited from entering into your inbox. And then you have antivirus engine. Antivirus engine is a tool which lets us to analyze for virus according to its signature. And we also have third-party feeds. Third-party feeds is again where you get knowledge, or where you get the pattern or study the pattern from third-party threat intelligence as well. Okay, and with those patterns, with those logs as well, we will do a lot of comparison in order for us to understand if a file is infected with a virus or not. And then you have feeds from user marking and deep analysis of attachments. User marking is where when you receive okay, this is very important. When you receive an email, and when you consider that this is an unwanted email, this is definitely a spam email, what would you do? You would skip the mail, or rather delete the mail. Okay. But it is required of you to go and mark it as spam. Okay. This spam marking is very, very important, because the system starts to study this pattern. Okay, studying whether this particular mail is spam. If it is spam, what is the pattern that is being maintained? This marking is quite important for you to avoid spam emails from entering your inbox in the future. Okay, make sure you mark the email as spam or phishing. And then you have deep analysis of attachments. Deep analysis is where we have the capabilities of performing analysis such as static analysis, dynamic analysis, etc. And then you have repeated post-delivery scannings as well. Post-delivery scannings is when an email enters your mailbox, it would have gone through a server level check, a system level check, and an organization policy level check. Okay, even after all of these scannings, it will enter your inbox after it has been considered as a legitimate mail. Even if it had landed into your inbox, even then, if you would like to run a scan for the same, you can enable this post-delivery scanning in your admin access, and this scanning will take place for every 7 days for the entirety of your mails or your unread emails, depending on your preference. So here we have a slide for that deep analysis which we spoke about, which is static analysis and dynamic analysis. Static analysis is nothing but I'm just giving you an idea of how this process takes place, and I'm also pressing on the point that we have the ability to perform all of these processes in order for us to identify if a file is malware or not. Okay, so here static analysis is where if we have a file which we need to analyze if it is a malware or not, we will do all the outside or exterior studying. Okay, we will not execute the file, but rather we will see the header of the same, we will see the format of the same, if it is an executable format or not. All of this will be studied, and if it is a vulnerable file type. So these things will be put forth, and according to which we will categorize it as a malware, and we will also study the potential of the same. And you also have third-party feeds, which we already know. Third-party feed is third-party threat intelligence, that is with a history of malware and the file types. We will also be able to categorize this as a malware or not. And then you have custom Yara rules, which also maintains a pattern for us to identify if a file is malware or not. And here in the dynamic analysis, where we will have a secluded software where this particular file will be executed itself. So in this isolated software, when the file is executed, we will exactly know what this malware's potential is. Okay. Here you can see monitoring system calls, network activity, what it does to the file systems. All of this will be monitored, and we will also check if it has connections with the outside world, if it has the ability to share files outside the system, etc. as such. Okay. So here the execution takes place for us to exactly understand what the malware is capable of doing. And then in the mitigation measures, we have delayed delivery, download time protection, quarantine, and threat intelligence. So delayed delivery is, if at all we consider a mail, it contains a malware, there would be a delayed delivery for 3 to 4 minutes for us to identify and make sure if it's a malware or not. And then you have download time protection. Download time protection is, let's say, the mail has reached you. Okay, it has come into your inbox, and then when you click on the download for you to download the attachment, even at that point a scanning takes place to make sure this is a malware or not. And then you have threat intelligence. This is again the comparison that we do from the external sources for us to identify the malware. And then you have quarantine. Quarantine is a space that is exclusive for admins. Okay, this admin will be able to see the emails which has been queued, and these emails are potentially spam emails. Okay, he or she will be able to monitor the emails and allow them or deny them depending on the decision that they take about the mail. Okay, this is quarantine space for you. And you also have malware analysis. Malware analysis is again what that admin sets up in the admin console. They'll be able to set up analysis for web bugs, macros, JavaScripts, saying that these emails should be analyzed for the same, and it should be marked as spam if at all it contains all of these factors. And then you have blocking users, which is a performance that the admins can do. They can block users if at all they are sending out any malicious content, etc. as such. They have the ability to block users, and also there will be an automatic blockage that happens for the user's account if at all they are sending out too many malicious content outside the organization. And then you have phishing. Phishing, as we already know, the basic motive of this particular threat is to loot data, sensitive data. Okay, so to identify the same, we have 40 different factors which we consider in order for us to identify these phishing emails. So you have brand impersonation, that is age of domain will be considered, reputation of the domain will be considered, typo squatting will be considered. Okay, age of domain is, let's say a domain is being created anew, then these domains are the vulnerable ones, okay, because these domains are not yet familiarized with a lot of an organization outside. So the spammers, the spoofers will make use of these domains. They create lookalike domains and they would send out emails. Okay, so whenever we receive such emails, we would also see the age of this domain, depending on which we'll be able to decide if it is a spam email or not. Reputation is where a particular domain, if it is marked as spam a lot, then it loses its reputation. Okay, and you also have typo squatting. Typo squatting is again lookalike domains, which is spelled different, but when you take the first glance, you won't be able to see the spelling difference at all. So that's called typo squatting. You also have length of domain, the path token, the presence of IP, suspicious TLD, suspicious keywords, special characters, redirections, and digit per ratio. All of this considered when we try to consider a mail as phishing email. And then you have mitigation measures. You have the click time protection and URL rewriting. URL rewriting is where, let's say you have a particular URL that is attached in your mail. Then when you click on the URL, it needs to be rewritten in a certain way for this click time protection to be triggered. Okay, I'll repeat that. When you click on a particular link that is attached to you in the mail, okay, a scanning takes place, but for the scanning to take place, this URL rewriting needs to be done. Okay, what happens is when you receive URLs, these URLs will be rewritten in a certain format, that is Zoho designed format, so that when you click on the particular URL to access the same, then this click time protection will be triggered. Okay, on the time of the click, a scanning takes place to make sure this is not malicious at all. Okay, and this also works even when you're trying to access your account from a client as well. And then you have spoofing. Spoofing is where somebody is trying to use your email ID as theirs to send emails. So what it causes backscattering and loss of reputation. Loss of reputation is where when so many people are receiving emails from your account, your domain, and this particular domain is marked as spam, then the domain loses its reputation. Once domain gets its reputation lost or spoiled, then in the future, when emails are being sent by this domain, then the server itself will reject the email. Okay. On rejection, it will bounce back to the actual mailbox, not to the spammer, but to your mailbox because you own the domain, right? So when all of those bounced emails are being landed in your mailbox, then your inbox gets to see, your inbox gets flooded, right? So this is backscattering. So to mitigate the same, we have SPF verification, DKIM verification, and DMARC verification in position. So let's say if you are receiving spam emails or spoofing emails, you can easily identify if it's a spoofed email or not. And how would you do that is you have SPF verification, which takes place in order for us to identify if at all the mail is being received from a legitimate IP address. And you have DKIM verification. So if you receive a mail, if at all the mail contains a legitimate domain key attached to it, this verification also takes place to make sure that this is a legitimate mail or not. And then you have DMARC verification, which is a combination of SPF and DKIM, so that the return path of the mail, the domain key attached to the message, and the legitimate IP of the mail will be verified before it enters into your mailbox. So these verification make sure that the particular mail is not a spoofed email, but rather a legitimate sender. And you also have some interesting features for you to ensure the same. You have cousin domain spoofing, display name spoofing, and BIMI brand protection. Cousin domain spoofing is where, let's say, for example, Amazon can be spelled as AMAZON, right? But if I'm going to write Amazon as AMAZ0N, it still looks like Amazon, but it is not actually spelled as Amazon, right? So these are called cousin domains, where lookalike domains are made use of in order to fool the users and send emails to them. So for us to stay safe from this, we can update all of the domain, that is legitimate domain, in the admin console, and we can save it. Once that is done, if at all any lookalike domain is being received in the organization, it will be automatically considered as a spam email. And then you have display name spoofing. Just like how this lookalike domains are being used, these spammers will also use display name, because obviously anybody can configure a display name of their own choice. So in that case, if they are configuring a display name, which is very, very common in big companies such as CEO, marketing head, finance head, etc. such. So when such emails are being received, there are few cases when the users will not cross-verify with the email ID. So in that case as well, you can update all of the display names and the corresponding email addresses of your organization here. So when you receive a mail and that does not correspond to the email address, it will be considered as spam. And then you have BIMI brand protection, which you can make use of in order for you to update your organization logo and the DMARC policy. And this again adds to the legitimacy of your account or the emails. And then you have spam. So we are done with 3 different email threats: malware, phishing, and spoofing. Now we move to the last threat, which is spam. Spam is unsolicited emails, which are unwanted emails that are trying to enter into your inbox and reside there happily. So let's not let that happen. So here, for the mitigation measures, you have block patterns, quarantine emails, and spam processing. Block patterns is you have the option to block emails depending on the sender, the content, and the subject. Okay, depending on these factors, you will be able to block a particular mail. And then you have quarantine space, where this is an exclusive space given for the admins for them to monitor or moderate the spam emails received in the organization. And then you have spam processing, which is a switch which you need to turn on in order for you to enable spam check to happen for your organization. And then you have spam protection techniques, which is available at the user end. So as a user, let's say you're not an admin, but a user, what you can do is, first you can block the particular account if at all you receive a lot of spam emails from a particular account. And then you can report the spam emails. You can mark the email as spam, mark the email as phishing. And also you have an option to look out for alerts as well. So in order for us to keep you safe, we will show you a lot of alerts saying this could possibly be a spam email, this could contain a phishing URL. So with all of these analysis, we will want you to be extra cautious before you access those email content or the URL. The alerts are, for spam reason alerts, we have sender email is listed in your email blacklist. In that case as well, you will receive a warning as such. And then you have the email is potentially harmful because it has an executable JavaScript. So this means JavaScript are ones that are in the executable format. When on trigger, it can cause a lot of malicious activity to happen. So in that case as well, this could be a spam email. And then you have sender-based alerts. Sender-based alerts are configured by the admin. Okay, he or she can decide if at all, depending on the senders who are non-contact, unauthenticated emails, external contacts. All of these contacts should be, alerted for my user. So if at all my user is receiving emails from these categories of people, then he or she needs to be alerted. Then this is the alert you will receive. And then you have organization rule-based alert as well, where shortened URLs, the spoofed URLs, and external organization. Depending on the organization policy, these kinds of warnings will be shown to you. And then you have web bug present. So if at all it is having the capability to do tracking, then a warning as such will be shown. And then you have virus alert. So if at all scanning happens for the attachment, a scanning periodically happens for the attachment, and even when you want to view it or download it, scanning takes place again. And one quick tip which I would like to tell you is it is always advised, if you don't know what the attachment contains, do not download it, but rather use the preview option, view the particular attachment, and only after confirming this is a legitimate attachment, you go forth and download it. Okay. And then you have executable attachment, where again, the attachment is in the executable format, and on execution, it can perform certain malicious activity in your account or in the system. Okay, so that for that, we will have such an alert shown to you. I think we're done with alerts now, and we'll just quickly move on to some of the email security features that I would like all of you to know. First, you have S-MIME encryption. So this works on certification basis. Let's say you have configured S-MIME certification for your account. It is also equally required for the other person, the receiver end as well. That organization should also have this S-MIME encryption configured in their account. Okay. Then when you send a mail to that particular receiver, then this mail will be automatically encrypted, and whoever is receiving, they will automatically decrypt the email and access the email content. Okay, so this works on encryption and decryption, and this is exactly what is going to add on to the layer of security to your emails. And then you have PGP, pretty good privacy, where it works with keys. Here in Zoho, you can either use the keys you generate in Zoho itself, or rather, if you have already keys available, then you can import and use them as well. Okay. All you need to do is you have to encrypt the mail with private keys, and you have to send the mails. So this mail will be encrypted, and you have to share the public key with the recipient. And the recipient will use your public key to decrypt the email and access the email content. And here again, the encryption and decryption is brought into picture in order to enhance the security for the particular email. And then we have Secure Pass Email. Secure Pass Email is a feature that we have in Zoho Mail. Here, this comes along with 3 different advantages. So if you're going to apply this feature and send a mail, what are the advantages that you will benefit from is you have an option where when you send it using the Secure Pass email, the recipient will not be able to forward, copy, download, or print the email. And it goes along with a mail expiry date, which you can set up. So after the expiry period, whoever has received it will not be able to access the mail at all. And then you have OTP passphrase. So when the person is trying to access the mail, automatically OTP passphrase will be received. And this OTP needs to be pasted in the browser that opens, and only then will they be able to access the email content. So these are the 3 different advantages that comes along with the Secure Pass email. One is they won't be able to download, print, or copy this email. And then you have expiry date that comes along with this particular feature. And third is the OTP passphrase that needs to be verified in order for them to access the email content itself. So we talked about the features as well. So now let's just move on to a little bit lighter topics. That is, we talked about a lot of email security features, the email threats that is out there, and how do we detect, how do we mitigate. So now we have a better idea of how secure the Zoho Mail platform is and how do we ensure the same. So, if at all, if you haven't been using our platform, then it's time for you to experiment and familiarize and decide which one you want to choose. We want to give you that space for you to experiment as well. For you to experiment, you have split delivery brought into picture where you can configure half your users or certain number of users in the provider that you've already been using, and you can configure the rest of the users or selective number of users in Zoho Mail. When you do that, whenever emails are being received, a routing takes place for the particular emails to be sent to the respective users in the respective provider. Okay, so this allows you to experiment with the platform, and you also have dual delivery available where you have to configure the same set of users in both the servers. Here again, a copy of the mail will be sent to both the servers as well. So this allows you to betterly understand how the data transfer is taking place, how the security aspects are brought into picture, and you can also very well decide which platform is suiting you the best. That's about split delivery and dual delivery. And with that, my segment of the webinar is over. I hope you enjoyed it. And now I'd like to call upon Pavitra, who would give a brief about how eProtect works and how you can benefit from the same.
Thank you so much, Priyanka, for the enlightening presentation on cyber threats. I'm Pavitra, the lead marketer for Zoho eProtect, and up until now, Priyanka spoke all about the different email threats that are prevalent these days, the evolving cyber threat landscape, and how Zoho Mail helps you keep these cyber threats away from your mailbox, right? Uh, Over the next few minutes, I'm going to be talking to you about exploring beyond your email provider security. So this is something that we have just in store for the non-Zoho Mail users that are there in the audience today. And the reason we stress upon the importance of exploring beyond your email provider security is that millions of people have fallen prey to cyber threats just in 2024. And a vast majority of this happens through email-based attacks. In fact, the cost of a data breach in 2024 has risen to almost $5 million, which in itself is a 10% increase from 2023. So these numbers, they are pretty astounding, right? So it's clearer than it ever was before that it's in your organization's hands to make sure that your email data is secure. And when we talk about protecting your data, it comes in two forms. The first is protecting your data from cyber attacks, and the second is protecting your data from loss of data itself. And this is exactly what Zoho eProtect helps you achieve. eProtect is a comprehensive cloud-based email security and archiving solution that protects your organization's emails from cyber threats and makes sure that your data is securely archived for e-discovery and compliance purposes. So one interesting thing to note here is that while it might seem like we're introducing something that's entirely new, that's actually not the case. The fact here is eProtect is the email security and archiving solution that's been powering Zoho Mail for over 15 years. So this is to say that eProtect's capabilities are already built into Zoho Mail. So if you're a Zoho Mail user, you do not need eProtect. But if you're a non-Zoho Mail user, say for example, you use Google or Microsoft for your email hosting requirements, eProtect complements and enhances the security that's already provided by your email provider and make sure that you have an additional layer of protection, that an extra layer of protection is there before cyber threats reach your mails. So first, let's talk about what email security features eProtect offers. Like Priyanka beautifully explained, there are many cyber threat mechanisms that are prevalent these days. eProtect offers you protection from these spam, spoofing, phishing, malware, and advanced zero-day threats that are very common these days. And how do we do this? With our advanced security infrastructure. To put it simply, the first comes in the form of connection filtering. So what we mean by connection filtering is that all the emails that reach your mailbox will be scanned at the connection level. That is the reputation of the sending domain, the email address, all of this will be checked and authentication checks will be done in this level. The next is content analysis. Any patterns that are present within the content of the email and the intent with which the email has been sent will be analyzed. And third is antivirus checks. So any viruses, scripts, spyware, bots, all of this, any prevalence of this within your email content will be checked for. And finally, we do sandboxing. So when we say sandboxing, what we mean is that any emails with attachments will be opened and checked in a secure virtual environment. By doing this, we can analyze if any malicious content is present within the attachment, and further action will be taken based on what we figure out in this stage. So that's a brief introduction into what the security features eProtect offers are. Next, let's move on to email archiving. So like I said before, eProtect is both an email security and archiving solution. And why should you care about email archiving right now is that even when you lose your access to important emails, say because of a hack that happened or because of some deletion of emails that happened, you can make sure that a copy of your emails is securely there in your eProtect account. So with respect to the email archiving features that eProtect offers, the first is that AES 256 encryption is present. So this means that all your emails are encrypted and we make sure that your emails do not fall prey to prying eyes. And next, we offer customizable retention policies. So with the customizable retention policies option, you can set up different sets of policies for different sets of users. Say, for example, you can set up a policy for high-profile users, making sure that their emails are retained for a longer period of time and giving lesser important emails a shorter archival period. And all the emails that have been archived can be looked up within seconds with a fast and simple e-discovery search and produced for whatever requirement you're looking it up for. And these emails can be exported in any option in any format of your choice. And since all of these actions are very sensitive in nature, say, for example, deletion actions are possible in our archiving portal. So all of these actions are audited with utmost precision in our audit logs, making sure that all actions go accounted for. So email security and archiving, the two core functionalities of eProtect. This is what eProtect does. But apart from this, to make an admin's roles easier, we also have a lot of options in store. The first of it is the customizable dashboard option. So eProtect's dashboard offers you a bird's eye view of all that's going on in your security and archiving portal. And what makes it better is that you can customize it to see what exactly you want and what's important for you. Next, with the custom admin roles option, you can give different levels of access for different admins. So high-profile admins can have access to sensitive operations, and this way you can make sure that all your data is secure and it's handled only by important employees. And finally, we also have the option for users to access their own archived and quarantined emails. So when we say this, what we mean is that, say, for example, the user has a request to view an email that's been quarantined, that's addressed to them, right? So instead of the admin having to get involved every time such a request comes in, the user can simply go and look for their own quarantined and archived emails. So you can make sure that you give this access only to trusted employees and make sure that no other data goes missing. So now that you know what eProtect is and what exactly it does, let's take a look at who eProtect is for. eProtect is a great fit for any organization that's looking to secure and archive their emails beyond their email provider. Organizations across the globe, irrespective of the size of their business and the industry that they're a part of, can use eProtect for their archiving and securing needs. So if you are not a Zoho Mail user, eProtect is a great fit because eProtect's features have already been built into Zoho Mail and you do not need them. And eProtect works perfectly well with any email provider of your choice, be it a cloud email provider such as Google Workspace or Microsoft 365, or an on-premise service such as Zimbra or Microsoft Exchange. eProtect has you covered. With a few simple steps to set up the product, you can go about securing and archiving your emails. And that's not all. We've just started out and we have a lot of new interesting features that are on the way. We also are working on the feature to avoid data leaks from within your organization, and we're working on business continuity options to make sure that your business keeps running seamlessly. So by now, it's very obvious that data security is no longer just optional. It's not just a good to have, it's a must have. And eProtect offers you the peace of mind knowing that you have an additional layer of security for your emails and that all your emails are safely and securely archived. So that's about eProtect. And if you have any questions, feel free to visit the website.
You can take note of all of these email IDs, and this is exactly how you can connect with us. Okay, I encourage all of you to take a note of all of these IDs. So if at all you want to connect with us after this session, you can reach out to us at these IDs. I suppose all of you enjoyed the session and it was quite insightful as well. So we'll wrap the session now. Let me just get a confirmation from my co-presenters here, Chaitanya and Pavitra. Can we end the session?
Yes, Prem.
Great. All right. Thank you so much for the confirmation. Thank you once again all for joining the session. Bye-bye.